Okay, guys, I don't really want to do this. You don't really want to watch this. Let's get through it. Let's just pick the scab, be done with this, and move forward. It's the first play of the game. That's and honestly, for all intents and purposes, basically the last play of the game. This Eddie, I think in the instant reaction said 11:45, and the game was over at noon. Game's pretty much over here. That was South Carolina just kind of sat on Oklahoma after this. So there's more ugliness to come. I don't want to, say we're skipping anything, but to the point. I said it on Saturday night, so I don't feel like I'm kicking someone when they're down, but this is a fireable offense. What happens on this play is fireably bad. To block with one of the worst blocking tight ends I've ever seen at Oklahoma and do so against a possible and likely probable first-round draft pick at defensive end. Just okay. You're watching Bauer Sharp right here. This is the whole crux of the play. Is right here, Bauer Sharp. Not only again, look at him jump inside. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. The second you do it, he's going to hit you on the outside, and it's over. And then you've got now. Does Michael Hawkins move out, and does he get away from it? Sure, he does. He absolves you a little bit of that sin. But he's a freshman quarterback. You can't keep putting him in these situations. And it's the same true for Jackson Arnold. Like, neither one of these guys have the experience to put the weight on them that the rest of this offense is forcing on these guys. And I'm not saying they're guilt-free in how bad this has been, but they're not being put in situations to succeed. They're just not. I mean, that's a little late, and that's behind Hester. But you can see what Mike's thinking. Like, there's a play to be made there, and he can't make it. I like that they're trying to go downfield. They're trying to do something. But I would say more from him, because nobody that called that play should ever have thought it would get to that point. Because, let's be real, Jackson Arnold's not escaping this sack. This is because Michael Hawkins is a supremely talented athlete that this pass he ever gets out of the pocket. It's hard to talk about this while Seth Luttrell has been fired, because it feels like I'm kicking somebody that it's over. Like that era in Oklahoma football, it's just done. But why? And there again, it's like nobody talked to these guys about what they were looking at South Carolina. I will say again, and I say it every week when I do the idiot, I am nothing special. I don't know anything special. I watch a lot of football, and I offer my insight, and that's it. I'm no X and O's genius. Don't know anything. The most rudimentary coach could probably tell you more than I can. I'm okay with that. But I can see a talented football player. That is something I do. That's something I've done for 25 years. It does not take me any special talent to see this guy and this guy are absolute units. They are dangerous people that you have to account for. And Oklahoma doesn't do anything. And it took them a quarter. It was like they'd never watched South Carolina to understand these guys are huge problems, and you must account for them at all times. I heard Gabe say, well, this is their max protect. And I know how he meant it. Like, I know he wasn't saying, like, oh, well, OU did all they could. You can't just say max protect and then act like that does the job. You have got to understand these are matchups. Bauer Sharp's a terrible blocker. There's no two ways around that. But this isn't on him. You cannot put him in that situation. Guys, I don't care if it was Brody Eldridge back in the day. He's going to lose that battle. He might fight a little better. He might make it last. But you can't put Brody Eldridge on an island. And Brody Eldridge ends up being a all-conference offensive lineman for Oklahoma. You can't. It's so bad. It's just like we talked about with the Tennessee stuff. It's just like we talked about with Texas. There was never any willingness to accept both what Oklahoma was, or I guess more to the point wasn't, and what the opposing defense was. The idea they were going to run right at Tennessee was fucking insane. It was never going to happen. And now, this, leaving out your ends, let me spot the first round picks for you. First round pick. That's going to happen. Barring something terrible to either of those guys, that I certainly hope doesn't happen, those guys are going to be NFL guys. And I mean legit ones. Well, we'll see what they do in the NFL, but the NFL is going to believe in them. Let's put it that way. I'm sorry. I really didn't. I want to get through this. I just want this to be over. But this is so stinking bad, and anyone can see it. And I want to give the credit to Gabe Eichert because he said it on the preview pod. The one thing you can't do is put tight ends on these ends. And the very first damn play of the game, they do it. That's insane. It's just insane.